Yeah, nice and close to the microphone. Hey. Wonderful. Hello everyone. Hello London! What are we saying? Come in a little, well you don't have to come, but come in a bit closer. We'll all be together a bit if you want. I had a whole speech prepared, but I'm not going to read that because something's just happened that really speaks to the thing that we're all concerned about, I think, and it's a really concrete example of why we're really pleased to be here as Together. Now, my name's Alan Miller. I'm one of the co-founders of the Together Declaration.org and the Together Association, but we're really honoured actually to be here supporting Michelle and all of you guys from the Home Education Alliance, the Home Education Fraternity. In many ways you represent the spirit of independence and responsibility and freedom in Britain, of the moral upbringing of our children, and also not allowing the state to dictate at every point and change the relationship between the state and the citizens, and particularly when it comes to the really immensely important question of how we bring our children up. So we're really pleased here to be supporting today, and we know that this is about to go back into the House of Lords this week with some amendments, and it's really essential at the same time that we've been told that there's been a U-turn on digital ID, that the contempt that Darren Jones and Keir Starmer and this Labour government have got for all of us is immense, because at the same time they say no compulsory, by the way we're going to make sure digital ID is everywhere for everyone across the board, and they think that we're all stupid, gullible mugs, and they think that we're just all going to go along with it. Are we going to go along with it, guys? No! We're absolutely not having it, and you know, Whitehall and the Treasury and the Home Office and 10 Downing Street, they should all hear this, and they will. Now it's important, and we've all sent emails, and you guys have done a great job with the Lords. We've let all the MPs and councillors know, we've let the press know, we've put them on notice that we're carrying on with this. But I am going to say some more things about this unique digital identifier, this code that is being allocated to children from birth. There's no discussion, there's no consent, we've had no manifesto, we haven't had any consultation. They say we're going to have consultation about digital ID, but there's no consultation on this. In the same way there's no consultation on one login and 8 million directors that are being forced to verify to continue. Now, we should never ever have to verify to participate. In Britain, in the land of the Enlightenment, of the Reformation, of all the major challenges that people fought and died so bravely for, but also were persecuted for, and the horrific things that were done to them, and we've got other protests from different parts of the world happening in Britain, but those things were happening in Britain and in England hundreds of years ago, and we have a duty. We stand on the shoulders of those brave people who were tortured and put their lives on the line, who would translate the Bible from German into English and get the King James Bible so that everybody could read it and have their own decisions and personal conscience and the ability to read, and then pamphleteering and to get those things out, and the Gutenberg press that generalised that and opened the way for the ability for us to all be individuals, citizens that could have autonomy over and choice over the way we live our lives. And it is essential that we don't allow the mad technocrats to recalibrate how we go about our daily lives. We are not going to verify to participate. You are bonkers if you think that. Now I just want to say, because this is all about children and families today, but something's just happened, and this is what the slippery slope means, because it really makes it concrete. So I've come over here and I wanted to thank the police, and I do thank the police for being here. They often do a very difficult job. I speak a lot about two-tier policing and about some of the senior officials and what's going on in Hendon Police Training College, which I really disagree with. But they do a tough job, right? And everyone's got an opinion, and I think that policing by consent is really important, and the public being engaged with our police, and the fact that we need authority, but we need personal responsibility. I don't think anybody likes seeing what's going on in shops. I don't think people want to see burglaries, but we don't want to be policed with our speech. When we have banter and talk about things, that is unacceptable. So a gentleman here was approached by one of the police officers, and she said, "Oh, do I know you from somewhere?" And I think he said, "Well, yeah, maybe only fans." Now, people might find that offensive. Fair enough, right? They might think it's a bad joke. Fair enough. But in Britain, we do not have people arrested, which is what was being threatened under harassment. We do not arrest citizens for bad jokes. Because if we did, all that lot in Parliament would be banged up, which some of them should be if we're honest, right? But anyway, we don't arrest people for saying things that are like hurty or even offensive. So I just want to remind the Metropolitan Police that we thank them for their service and their duty, but that we are free citizens. And in the precedent of England and English law, when an officer asked an English citizen what they were doing, he said, "None of your business." Because unless you're in suspicion of about to commit some crime, it is none of anyone's business, and we will not allow the encroachment of that. Now, the reason I make a reference to that is that from the Online Safety Act, with really good intentions to protect children, and I don't think you'd have to find a person that was really deeply flawed that does not want to make sure our children are protected, right? It's one of the core things about humanity and our humanity. And obviously there are some terrible people out there, a very few, but there are terrible ones out there, and we know they're out there on the internet like they're out there in society. But like the Online Safety Act that has really good intentions, and we changed some of the legislation about truthful versus harmful, but the Online Safety Act's been weaponised to treat us all as children, to censor all of us, to have a situation where this country has outsourced censorship to Silicon Valley, so YouTube will pull down debates that we're having at Together and the Together Association on the assisted suicide bill. Again, good intentions, right? Maybe they don't want, well, I'm sure they don't want people to promote suicide, but there we go. Is it an algorithm or is it censorship? But what we have is we end up having our debate pulled down. And time and again, the discussion of offence or harm ends up being promoted to limit and suffocate our freedom and our free expression and our ability to debate and engage with one another and convince one another as autonomous individuals who all have conscience. And, you know, the light of freedom, which is the antiseptic of bad ideas, we must be able to engage with them. Now, I bring this all back because the Online Safety Act and the attempts of this current Prime Minister, who says we've done a U-turn on digital ID, but, you know, we're going to have the Children Wellbeing Schools Bill, and a lot of kids are being fingerprinted or having facial recognition to get food in their schools, and many parents quite rightly I don't like it. I also want to say, right, I know a lot of people have been chanting children's rights, but I think parents' rights, the ability for parents to make adult choices and protect our children and make choices about our children is the key thing. And like the very enthusiastic young passionate kids that came along, they need adults to show them the way with authority and discipline and compassion and fun, but actually to give a lead. And in a way that these leaders, the past ones, and these did not give a lead in our schools during lockdowns and at other times, in a way that they had a dereliction of duty towards our young people, and in a way that we don't think is acceptable. So I bring this back to another question about these technocrats, these authoritarian technocrats in power, who, again, it sounds good, right? Australia's just stopped under 16s from going on social media to protect them. We want to protect and safeguard our kids, right? But what does that mean? What it means in reality, ladies and gentlemen, is that we all become infantilized. We all have to go onto digital ID. We all end up becoming a barcode to prove who we are in order for actually the thing they're worried about not to happen, but it actually continues to happen, which is everyone becomes infantilized. The wrong uns end up abusing that situation. Like in New South Wales, people have got fake digital driver's licenses. But ordinary people, everyday people, end up becoming put under the cosh of digital authoritarianism. So they do that in Australia, and then this Prime Minister who said, "Oh, we're having a U-turn now," right, Darren? But Darren goes on. Darren Jones say you're going to happen. Morgan McSweeney, all of them, they're all over the place. But we're not having it now. But actually, I think that's a rather good idea. Under 16s and social media, we might have that here. And all of a sudden, wallop, we've got the Prime Minister saying, "Guess what, everyone? You're going to be treated as though you're all children." I like that idea. I like the idea of digitally verifying. We're not having it compulsory now. I've done a U-turn on that. What we're going to do is we're going to protect the children, which means everyone go indoors. No one have alcohol. Everyone put your hands on the head. You've all been naughty children. You're going to do what we say. You're going to check in digitally when we say, how we say. We're not having it. So in the same way, some people are very well intentioned, and I want to say this about the Online Safety Act and the Children's Wellbeing Schools Act bill, right? Some people are very well intentioned. They really want safeguarding, and I understand that. But the consequences of pursuing this administratively, of making children de facto walking barcodes and data points, is that in every area of their lives, in administrative, in every area of health, and for the rest of their lives, they end up having this digital tag. And we at the Together Association are saying that's absolutely unacceptable. We're inviting everyone to make sure that you let the Lords know, you let your councillors know, you let the MPs know, tell the press, post everywhere. We've distributed over 500,000 flyers across the UK. Local groups are really important. I know you guys have all got really important networks. Well done to all of you who came today, but also when we go back to our communities, keep the flyers going out, keep the discussions. We've got meetings, rallies, events. We're going to be in May. No, we're not. We're going to be in Wales. We may be in Wales. We're going to be in Wales on the 12th of May. We're going to be in Scotland in March. We've got a big rally on the 25th of April. We're uniting with everyone. We've united with the farmers. We're saying no to digital ID with veterans, with businesses, with young and old. We're saying with hospitality. We're saying they've got to do a U-turn on juries, trial by juries. They've got to do a U-turn on the right to appeal with magistrates. They're going to have to U-turn. They best just get out. And what we're going to do is not take anyone's word for it, because it's easy to say what you will do, like Boris Johnson said, I'm going to eat my ID card. We're going to be here to keep holding people accountable together. We're going to build a strong public. We love people to become members and be involved with us. We want to help and support your organisations around the country. We're going to talk more about that. Thank you for having us here today. Let's keep shining the light of freedom. We need to scrap digital ID. No one wanted it. No one's put forward anywhere in a manifesto. We've not voted for it. Scrap digital ID. Stand together. Keep Britain free. We're better and stronger together. Remember our kids, everyone. We've got a duty to lead together. Thank you very much, everyone.